Nice to Java devs. Today we are going to look at one aspect of Java, which is called switch. We're going to see one important thing that maybe you might not be aware that it's there with switch statement, and this also applies to those people who are studying for their Oracle certification. So without wasting time, let's get cracking. So a switch, guys, it's like an if. You can take it to be something like an if statement. So let's assume that we are passing, let's say Java here. Then our case, we can have Java, then we can have some other statement and have a break. Then we can also have this, but this will obviously have a problem. So guys, the reason why this code is not compiling is because the evaluation of this statement is the same as this one. Take this, if you watched our video where we were explaining the constant pooling of literals for string. So the compiler is able to see that these two are actually the same, because this is a literal and this is a literal. If you were to put an extra thing here, it will compile, because now these are not the same. So anything that you put in the case for this code to work must be a constant. So let's say we have string s equals to OCA. We cannot do this. We cannot say s and then say break. Why? Because s is not a constant. S can change at any point within the switch. Or let's assume we put it here. S can change anywhere in the switch. So for instance, we can say s now equals to something else. That's why we say it's not a constant. So for this code to work, we must make our string s to be final. Then this code works. And why does it work? Because it knows that s it's a constant. It will never change. So now we can complicate this thing further to say, if we have Java here, this code does not work, because now the compiler can see that the evaluation of s is the same as this one. So now let's assume we have another function here. Let's even make it more complicated. Treat it static and it returns a string. Let's just say p. For simplicity, let's just say it returns Java. I want to ask you, if I put a function call here instead of string literal p, what's going to happen? And we see that p returns Java. You see, this code won't compile because now s is no longer a constant. At compile time, we do not know what's going to be returned to us. That is what we say, that a switch, all cases in a switch must be constant. So this is similar if we had said x at 0. Although this compiles, but now s is not a constant because its value is evaluated at runtime. So all constant values are all constant variables, their values are evaluated at compile time. That's why this is not working, guys. So for this to work, we must have this as a constant. But now this gives us another problem, because now this is no longer compatible, because we have now two case statements that are the same. So for this thing to work, this must be a constant. So now, guys, this is allowed because s is a constant. So now the compiler is able to see that the value that you're passing here, which is s, it's going to be Java Java 5. It knows that this is going to be Java 5 at compile time. That is why this code is able to run. Yeah, so the argument you pass to a switch here can be anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be a switch. So basically I can call that function. It should work. It can be anything. So it's also important to understand that a switch only allows byte, character, short, int. It doesn't allow a long. It does allow a string, enum type. So the switch will only allow you to use this, and all enum types can be used as in a switch block. So it also important to mention that you can use these types as well as their corresponding wrapper classes. So the reason why a long is not allowed is because let's say our switch now takes numbers. So let's say case, we have 1, and then we have long, L equals to 0, and then you pass L here. This is where the problem comes in now, because this is this is where the problem comes in. You see that a long cannot be allowed because by default all numbers are integers. So you cannot do this. So let's say so the problem is this is already unreachable because the type that you're putting here it's already incorrect. So you cannot put a long in a switch. You can only use a switch with this thing. Remember, this string was only added to be compatible to switch in Java, I think Java 7. Yeah, guys, that is all I wanted to say with regard to switch statements, switch and everything about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe.